Hello and welcome back to Family Tech, where you get to be the tech expert of your home. We're changing up our format, and I'm super excited about the whole thing. So, we have with us today Emilee, who you will remember from earlier episodes.
Way early.
The very beginning of this podcast. If you want to deep dive into the archives, you'll find some Emilee in there. But then now we've invited Tech with Brett because we figured we needed a guy's voice.
Yeah.
I'm a bass.
I'm a bass. And
Having a variety.
The span of kids that we can't cover because Emilee's kids are super baby. And my kids are almost
super
out of the
old.
house teenagers. And Brett, what's your age range?
We have quite a few range. We have a 2-year-old, 6-year-old, 9-year-old, and a 12-year-old here in the house. So
Wow,
it's busy.
Range.
It is busy. Yeah. So between the three of us, we basically span the entire range of kiddom because my daughter's 18. So that's we're 18 and then 14, 12, blah 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 through tech with Brett, and then Emilee covers the bottom end. I mean, although you have an older than 2. Yeah.
I
right?
do. She's just turned 4.
Oh my goodness.
Wow. I was pregnant with her when we started the podcast. So there you go. Yeah. That's how far back you have to go. It's 4 years. Plus
4 years.
Only 4 years of content.
Only 4 years.
Just about. So the format's going to change a little bit. We're going to talk about a little bit of tech news. And we don't cover speeds and feeds and all the tech news that other channels will cover. This is the stuff that's going to affect families. So social media, smart home, this kind of tech news, that's what we'll cover here. We're going to have a main topic, which today we're talking about screen time, which is super exciting because, again, we have a whole span of age ranges. So I bet we've got tons of great tips for you on screen time, and then just a quick little what's trending around social media. So let's go ahead and start with a question to both Brett and Emilee. Would you pay for a subscription to a social media platform? So the EU is testing out, or Meta is testing out paid subscriptions in the EU. So what are your thoughts? Brett, we'll start with you.
Well, I do pay for a subscription to a social media platform.
Oh,
so
true.
I'm kind of in that range, but certain social media platforms I would not pay for. Just because of my time and usage there. Some people may have more time. So I probably wouldn't pay for Meta subscription.
What about you, Emilee? Would you pay for ad-free experience?
I don't know. I mean, probably not because we're used to ads right now, right? That's what I get.
Right.
So it's not going to really change my life if I get ad-free. So I use Facebook. I feel like an old person. I use Facebook for all my groups.
I'm all the oldest one here, so it's all good.
I feel like you, Sarah.
Yeah, so old.
So I don't know. I would wonder if we moved the groups off of Facebook, I probably would just be I'm done with Facebook. So I don't know. But again, we use ads now. It's nothing that's going to change my life if I had an ad-free experience. So probably not.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. So it'd be curious to see. Like Brett, I actually do pay for the Meta Verified, so I can have my cute little blue check on my Instagram.
So fancy.
I know, so fancy. So I do pay for that, but it doesn't give me an ad-free experience. Are they gonna grandfather that in? That would be nice.
That would be really nice, actually, if you guys could get that.
Yeah.
With the Meta Verified.
When I did read through the article, I thought of who this would be good for, which would be grandma and grandpa or my parents, where they're clicking on all kinds of things and going to the wrong place, and you never know what kind of ads are going to show up. So if it does remove those, it might be worth it to give them a subscription so that you're not getting the calls about, hey, I clicked on this thing and now they have my credit card, and you're like, what's going on? So I thought, oh, maybe that might be a good thing to have.
That is genius, actually. Because that is so true. Like, my mom is always like taking a screenshot and texting me, hey,
is this legit?
Is this legit? Yeah. Like, no, don't pay attention to that. You don't owe them $1,000, I promise. So yeah, to like, okay, every year for Christmas, I'm giving you ad-free access to Facebook. And then that actually helps me out because then I don't have to field all the phone calls from,
I also thought this same thing, but they're doing it is like for young kids, anybody under 18. It says they're going to have it where they're not going to advertise to anybody 18. And I think that's a great idea. So I really like that take. You don't have to pay for it. It's going to happen automatically. But that would be something else I would look at getting, is if I could have that for my kids' social media accounts.
Yeah. Cool. Any other thoughts on that before we move on to our next bit of news?
Yeah, all my kids are under the Facebook age, but in the next few years, I'm sure we'll be asked to have them on there. So yeah, those are some interesting things to think about. I'd love ad free for kids because so far they don't really know what ads are. They've grown up on a Netflix ad free experience.
Right.
So it's nice that I've been able to manage that. So going forward, what is that going to look like? If there is options to keep things ad free, that might be nice. Might be something to think about.
Do your kids actually, and Sarah, this could be a question for you too. Do they actually want Facebook though? Like Instagram,
nobody wants Facebook. But.
I was thinking, I was like, I don't know if anybody, but same idea for Instagram,
right? But right, yeah.
But I just was curious if the cool kids actually want Facebook.
Yeah, no, the cool kids aren't on Facebook. The only reason they have a Facebook account is because they have an Oculus or a Meta Quest.
That's right.
So the Meta Quest requires a Facebook account to use it. So that's the only reason kids want a Facebook account.
The Facebook.
But it's true. Like an ad-free experience for Instagram might be good because I not fall for, but like I am frequently purchasing things that are advertised to me on Instagram.
It's the worst. It's like, yes, give me personalized ads, but also don't give me personalized ads because I'll buy stuff.
I don't think I've ever bought anything from an ad.
Well, you're missing out.
I don't spend much time on Instagram, so maybe I need to. TikTok, they're feeding me plenty of ads though, so maybe I'm seeing some that might be interesting to me. So we'll see.
There you go.
So you get pulled into the ads eventually.
Yeah. You're like, oh, I do need that. Like, that happens to me all the time. And so I could see that like when it's a kid, the parents used to hide the like Sears catalog coming. I'm really dating myself here, but like the Sears catalog would come to the house, and the kids would like, want to circle everything that they want and everything. But it's kind of like just in their face now instead of,
can't hide it. We got a Target ad and I had to deal with that.
Right.
Recently. I was like, oh goodness. It doesn't exist. Please ignore this book of toys.
Doesn't Amazon send out like a catalog?
Yes. And that theirs is huge.
Yeah,
theirs so big.
Theirs is big.
Yeah. Awesome.
Yeah, our little boy, he saw the Target ad and he's obsessed. He's obsessed with it. He's like, "What are all these things? I've never seen anything like this."
Story. And they're like, "Can you show me and tell me what these are?" And you're like, "No, please no."
Yeah, semi truck, Target semi truck. We've seen that a billion times, so we'll see if it shows up. But anyway,
it makes Christmas a whole lot easier, though.
It's true, it does.
Like, oh, you want that? Great. Done.
Ask Santa. That's what I've started saying.
Ask Santa. I know. This is the great time of year to be like, oh, you want that? Okay, well, maybe for Christmas. The way to push everything off. It's so nice. Yes. All right. Our next little ad, or not ad. Look at me, all ads.
Nice.
And a bit of news. So YouTube's new teen protection limit recommendations on potentially harmful videos. So they are kind of taking the Instagram approach of harmful materials and being like, hey, you might not want to see this, or like, hey, maybe it's time to take a break, but it's not really doing much on the algorithm back end, I would say. What are you guys' thoughts on this? Brett, go for it.
I would say it's great to have any extra protections to be added to any social platforms to help with some of this is great to have. So I think it's necessary. I like kind of how it let them, it allows them to search for some things and watch a video, but then they can only watch it once. So it gives some of those limitations, protecting them. So maybe if they're curious, that's fine, but not continuing to dwell on the topic and see certain things over and over. I thought that was kind of interesting. As a YouTube creator, it's great to see any type of protection to help kids. My kids are all watching YouTube, so adding all of that is very welcome.
Yeah. What about you, Emilee?
I really liked the part where it's like if they search for something, there's a full page now, or like a full panel that's like, here's some information to help you out if this is what you're looking for. I do love, like Brett said, I do love the protection that we're getting, but I watch YouTube videos for fitness stuff. And so when it called out specifically, like I'm into CrossFit, I'm into that type of stuff, obviously not a kid, but still
Right.
I'm like, that's where that line gets a little fuzzy, where it's like, I'm okay with my kids watching maybe when they're older and care, like CrossFit things, but that might be one thing that gets flagged. And so I love the idea of the protection, but it's that weird balance of like, what are they going to catch that and that just means I have to pay more attention, right? That's what all this always ends up being. As a parent, you just have to pay more attention.
Yeah. Yeah. I totally agree with that. I think, and like Brett said, I am all for continuing to add different protections. I think sometimes maybe they approach it a little bit wrong. I would like a little more control over the protections, especially for like younger kids. And I know we've got YouTube Kids, and then you have the kind of like in between where you can still kind of like limit their account a little bit. But then after they turn 13, it gets a little hairy after that. But like, I would love to be able to block specific channels. Like, you can't do that. You can like ask that it doesn't show it to you, but it's not really like changing anything. I mean, I'm not going to show it, but like they can still get to it is what I'm trying to say. Yeah, so I would love the ability to like block different channels, or maybe just allow specific channels for older kids, because you can do that all like in YouTube Kids. But
yeah, I always thought that's interesting that as an older child, you don't have that option to block certain channels. They just it's all there. And it's like, why can't I limit this? Where I like how YouTube Kids allows me I can only allow certain videos or certain channels to be shown, and I can easily remove some, because sometimes weird stuff does pop up in YouTube Kids, and it's like, what is going on? But yeah, it would be nice to see some more protections in that kind of way, where as a parent, I can know exactly what's happening versus finding out, oh, wow, you spent all this time watching this really weird stuff.
Yeah. Yeah. So like some better reporting as well, I think would be super helpful.
Yeah.
But like Brett was saying, every little bit helps. Keep rolling out different protections. The announcement yesterday about Lantern, I didn't add this, but Lantern is a new kind of coalition with like Meta and Discord and Snapchat and everything, where they're kind of going to share information about predators. Like, so if like this email address has been flagged in like Snapchat, then they flag it like for Meta.
Oh, interesting. I didn't hear about
things
this.
like that. Yeah. It like literally just came out yesterday. I was going to add it, but then it was a little too late. But anyway, so like, I love that they're still like working together to try and fix the problem.
Yeah.
Any other thoughts on YouTube protections?
No.
Okay.
No.
Last little bit of news. Like to the surprise of absolutely no one, we've got the fact that, oh, did I not copy that appropriately?
Oh no.
I know. I just did the same link and it wasn't the right
We're
link.
talking about YouTube again. Yay.
Yeah.
Yay.
Lemonade, the Instagram rival from TikTok, fails to gain traction in the United States. I am like shooketh. So, go ahead.
Well, I don't know if I've heard of this before.
Yeah.
That's like how I was like, what is this? I don't know if I've ever. So there you go. That's the issue. Is I'm pretty sure I've never heard of this app before.
Brett, have you heard of Lemonade?
Yeah, I have, but I didn't even know it was a part of ByteDance. I didn't know it was their brand. So my wife a few months ago had been invited by somebody to try out Lemonade, and was, checked it out, tried it. I think she may have posted something on there once or twice, and then I never heard about it again. So I think TikTok has already taken over all that. And that, I reading about it, I was like, oh, it's a version of Pinterest. I didn't even realize like that's what it could be. I thought it was just another type of social network to post, videos or whatever. But yeah, I didn't even realize it was trying to be this like combo Pinterest, TikTok platform type of deal.
Yeah. I mean, every social media platform that comes out, I immediately sign up and register Family Tech because that's who I am. And
just in case
it takes off, I got to have my username. But yeah, so I did hop on there. I posted a couple things, but the same as Brett's wife, I'm like, I posted a couple things and I don't think I've opened that app in like 6 months.
Yeah.
Wasn't Pinterest? I feel like Pinterest is also sort of dying. So it's interesting that they chose that to kind of mimic. Model. Model to mimic. Because it's not like I still use it every once in a while, but it's not nearly what it was when it first came out.
Yeah. And I think with Lemonade specifically, it was like, it's difficult to create content there. Like, I had a really it took a while and I'm like, I'm not spending this much time on this platform. Yeah. But so what do you think it would take the kids these days immediately hop on like the latest app. The newest one is called Laps. Everybody's downloading Laps.
That's not a real one. I'm looking it up.
Well, it's iPhone exclusive, so
then I don't
care. We wouldn't know about it then.
We wouldn't know. But it's really dumb because like you take a picture, but then you can't see how the picture turned out until like later in the day. It's like to mimic like when we used to have to like go get our film developed, and I'm like, I don't see kids like sticking with this. Because like they don't have that kind of patience. They don't care. So like it gained popularity really quick, but I don't see it lasting either.
I kind of love that idea though. Is that weird? They really should market this towards millennials and elder millennials because that sounds like you don't know what it looks like. It's like you said, it's just like taking it to have to go get the film processed. I kind of love it.
That is a fun idea. I've never heard of that.
Yeah. So like kids hop on these apps like super, super quick. But what do you think it would take for something to get as big as something like Instagram or Facebook or something like that? Like, the next version of whatever. Like, because obviously these things keep coming. Like, so Threads probably had the best chance of that because it had a built-in user base from Instagram. You just like copy stuff over and now you're on Threads, but even their
users
traffic
like,
has like gone way down. So what do you think it would take to really climb to the top?
I don't know. After being alive through all of these different social platforms, seeing the rise and fall of many, it is very interesting to think of, what could be next. But, TikTok kind of came out of nowhere. So, something similar. I've heard of others throughout the years and I'm like, what is that? And, younger kids are using it, but I've never heard of it beyond that. So I've never signed up or anything. So I don't know what it would take.
Yeah. I think we've kind of, first it has to be easy. So I think, like you mentioned with Lemonade, it's hard. You were saying it was hard to use. So I think that's one big thing to get people to adopt is it has to be easy. But TikTok was big because it was videos. At the time, Instagram was really photos, and I think we had stories, but it still wasn't a big focus on videos. So TikTok was the same, but slightly different, like you said. But so I don't know what else. We have text, which is X, formerly known as Twitter.
Social media platform formerly known as Twitter.
We have photos, which is Instagram, although they've kind of picked up on videos, and then you have videos for TikTok. So I'm not sure, like, what's the next thing that we could pick up. Although I don't wish I had an iPhone to get laps.
Yeah. No, you don't.
I don't.
You don't want laps. I promise.
But I do.
There's only one way to find out.
I know. Where's my one Apple device in this household?
Yeah, I mean, I have, like I said, I have to have my iPhone here, like, because I do tutorials and stuff and show people how to install stuff and
Did you put
how to
laps on
do
it?
stuff. I do, like, because every platform I want to like inform parents on like what it can do and everything. So yeah, I installed laps and the other one that was super popular like at the beginning of the school year was Saturn.
There's no way this much social media is coming out. What? Saturn? What?
What?
Is that the school one though? Like,
yeah, so it's basically like you can connect your schedule, like so it has like your entire school schedule, and it's just for high school kids. And then you can like connect with people that are in your class and like, you know, chat with them. But again, it was just for Apple devices. So I'm like, oh, great, another way to like bully all the Android users in your school. So
it's fine.
So congratulations.
Our soapbox against Apple.
Yeah. I think what would need to happen is like your people need to be on the platform. And that's like getting people to switch to a different platform is, I think, the hardest thing. You know, I like Emilee, I love my Facebook groups. I like am in several and I'm obsessed with my Facebook groups. And that's really all I go to Facebook for is for checking in on my groups. You know, Reddit has kind of something similar, but again, my people aren't there. So it's harder to like, you know,
actually stay in Reddit.
Yeah.
That's kind of the same.
Yeah. What do you think?
Yeah. And then I think Discord has totally taken a lot of people, you know, in that kind of younger age that, we have a community, come over here and join. And you can have tons of communities there, which it's a little bit more, you know, connected. Mm-hmm. And I think that's a good, you know, I've tried it a few times, still don't understand half the stuff that's going on. Or it's so powerful. It's like, what can this even do? Yeah. And so I'm still trying to figure that out. But yeah, the, you know, jumping to platform just for a certain thing, you know, if it's good enough, I guess people are moving over. And that's why, you know, people go to iMessage just so that there's not confusion on why is this video so low quality or why is this picture not look great? And so it's Apple's only way to get people to move over to Apple. But
it's true. Yeah. And I think in a future episode, we will talk about the Epic Games lawsuit. Didn't you put that in there somewhere? I don't know. Maybe that was something else I saw, but we definitely need to talk about that because that's like literally in the lawsuit. They have email examples from Apple executives to say like, why would we want to add like RCS to iMessage? Because that locks people into our ecosystem.
It just hurts me. The anger builds every time. I'm so annoyed. Sorry.
Yeah, our family's all over the place because of it, but we're not going to just all switch to one. That's for sure. You can't move us over. If you could help us so that it makes it easier for us to work together, that would be really nice. You know.
Yeah. Come on, Apple, get the message.
Yeah.
That's our Apple soapbox of this episode. One per episode.
One per episode.
Well, I can join on those then. This is good. I like that.
That's awesome. All right. Well, let's talk about screen time. So maybe we'll start with the babies. And what do you kind of do for screen time? And then we'll move on to Brett, and then I'll talk about what I do with my dumb teenagers.
Perfect. Your dumb teenagers. So I know the standard like optimal thing is no screen time before 2, and then it's 1 hour per year they are old or something like that. We have seen both sides of the stories. We've seen those who are living and thriving or not thriving with screens in their hands from when they're born. And then those who haven't been able to have screens or anything in their home. And so we try to keep a nice middle ground of they probably get 1, maybe 2 hours a day, depending on the situation. We try to keep it interactive where it's family related. We watch a lot of Bluey right now. It's like all we watch is Bluey. And then they
never
do
seen an episode.
Oh, you should actually watch it. It's so good for like adults. There was one episode when it came out, my kids were like, I'm done, I'm gonna go play. And I was like, well, I'm gonna finish this. So have fun. I gotta figure out what happens. And they do actually play video games too. That was one thing we really wanted to incorporate, is a little bit of video games, age appropriate, of course. We've done a lot of Zelda because my husband is a huge Legend of Zelda fan. So our oldest, so she's 4, has grown up on it. She's currently playing Link to the Past, I think. Actually, she really just runs around and does nothing. But she loves it. We do the Lego game. She does Lego Harry Potter. And it's just, we just really want, because I love technology, we love technology. We obviously want it to be around. So we don't want them to be so obsessed with it, because that's what we see with kids who get no technology, right? Who have very little. It's anything, anywhere they go, they try to get it. But we also try to keep a good balance of they're not on it all day. And it's not a parenting tool necessarily. We're not like, you're screaming, here's a screen. So that's how we try to manage it. Sometimes it's very much like, I don't know what to do with you. Let's watch Bluey for a little bit.
Sure. But I love that you're doing it with them. I think that's a really important aspect of, especially the babies, like, hey, we can enjoy technology and there's a lot of stuff we can do together with it. So I like that aspect.
Yeah, that was, like I said, really important to us, where we didn't want screens to be a secluded thing. Didn't want them to feel like it can be very easy to be like, this is my screen, I'm by myself, this is whatever. And that can be dangerous. And so we wanted to be able to make sure that any screen time was a family thing, that we're all together. They at least have one of us with them while they're playing, because 1, they need help. She needs help all the time. But 2, like, we're together. Just family.
No, that's awesome. All right, Brett, let's move on to the
the middle.
Mid-range.
Oh,
kids.
it's a fun range. I'm going to start off by saying these kids are smart, and they know how to work the system. So every device that I've incorporated in the home, one of the requirements is it has to have some type of parental controls where I can manage the screen time without like using the device, which it's great. I have, I have Family Link for my Android devices where I can go in and I can adjust how much time, I can set schedules, I can set a bedtime. Amazon Fire kid devices, I can do the same. I can manage all that. And then even on a Windows computer, my daughter likes to play on there, there's a family safety app where I can go in and set time limits. So whenever I get a device, I kind of set up time limits, and I'm like, oh, this should work. And, and then it's immediately not enough. It's like, and within a few minutes, Dad, I need more time. And I'm like, what? I just barely gave that to you. And so, the time continues to get longer and longer and longer, which isn't good. But I like that I do have the option to stop them, and they at least have to communicate with me before they continue on. It's nice that I can give a hard stop. Yeah. But was where the smarts come in is we have too many devices now in the home. So at first I had like one device that they were sharing. But a few months ago, I made a TikTok that it was like, hey, I finally figured out how to be a parent. And it was every single kid was using their own device. And I could like finally take a break. That's not how you parent. But it's nice that I had a minute of silence. So anyway, they'll use up the device's time, and then they'll move to the next device that has more time. And then they even figured out that on the Chromebooks, if they log in with their school account, there's no time limits.
Right.
So I'm like, what? How come the school doesn't let me limit this? And they have YouTube all of a sudden. I'm like, oh man, this is getting out of hand. So I still need to figure out some of that. Some of the other ways that are helpful is if your router has parental controls based on usage time, which is really cool. The one I have right now doesn't do that. And I'm like, oh, maybe I should go back to, hey, after this device is used an hour, it's done. And you can't use that device anymore. That's kind of nice to have. So yeah, they have. We spend too much time on screens, so we need to definitely work on improving that. I'm pretty sure it was last night that I threatened everybody that we're never using screens again, and the only time we'll watch a screen is Friday night movie night. So we'll see if today they don't use screens.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's not going to happen. But
let us know how that one goes.
But yeah, there's lots of controls, and it's just trying to figure out the best way to do it. Some days they'll come back at the end of the night. Dad, I haven't watched any screens. Can I have screen time at bedtime? I'm like, no, it's bedtime. So let's not do that, and we'll just watch something tomorrow. So, and I have transitioned from like them watching whatever YouTube offers them to, hey, let's watch Bluey. Like they didn't know about real TV shows. And then they found Bluey, and they've watched it a million times. And I'm definitely okay with more of that versus more of random YouTube shouting and challenges and all kinds of other stuff. So screen time versus content management is definitely the challenge that I'm facing right now with all of them. Yeah. And it's some work.
Yeah.
And I don't know what's right or what's wrong, or if I've done too much brain damage yet at this time.
Yeah, I mean, the problem is, like, we're the parents, like, creating these rules. Like, we didn't have this growing up. I mean, I had a DOS computer when I was, their age. So I would play, like, Mastermind or Blackjack on MS-DOS, and that was well, or just, like, original Nintendo. We had the original Nintendo, obviously.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. Obviously. I mean, I'm a child of the 80s, so of course. But yeah, like but I think to Emilee's point, I really love that you're talking about when you limit it too much, when they're out, they are so drawn to that. And that happened. My friend, my kids went over to her, or I think it was just, I only had one at the time. My kid went over to her house, and there was like a TV on, and literally everybody was like glued to the TV except for my kid, who was like off, doing other stuff, because she's just like, I always had the TV on, when I was doing stuff, like literally it was like on all day. I mean, that was just the thing. But when we wouldn't sit and watch it all day, it was just kind of like background noise. And so that's kind of how they treated it when they were at somebody else's house, when like all the other kids were like, and she's like, yeah, that's cool. I'm fine. Yeah. So sometimes limiting it can be, harder than having it available.
Yeah, Brett, I really liked your call out for content management. I think that's one thing that we try to work on too, is like, okay, screen time, yes, we know all this good, the bad, whatever, but in all reality, they're going to get it. And so if I can manage the content that they're seeing and it's not random, I loved that call out of because YouTube, whatever, can be completely random. And so let's put a focus on the screen time of what we're doing. I think that's a really good thing too.
Yeah, and I kind of was thinking about, how did I have screen time growing up? Did my parents really manage me? Not really. It was like, you come home from school, I watched Power Rangers and another show. And then it's good times, And so I'd do that, and then, I'd go hang out with my buddies, and then I'd play Nintendo for a while. And then, we just kind of went on with our day or whatever. So I kind of think about that, and I was like, oh, I played way more Nintendo and I only watched an hour of TV maybe because that's like all the shows that I wanted to watch were on, and then nothing was on that I wanted to watch. So sometimes I have totally stopped tablet time, and I'm like, hey, if you want to play Nintendo, go ahead. Like, I'd rather you try and, I feel like it built tons of skills for me. I don't know if that, if that's a real thing, but one of my daughters, or they've all now, let's see, two of them have been playing Breath of the Wild with me, and it's fun to see them be challenged, and then they started Tears of the Kingdom with me, and to see them grow and learn, and like, oh, how do I do this? And it helps their imagination. And then of course they all have played Minecraft, and I think that's such a great game to just challenge their abilities in some way. So sometimes it's like, all right, maybe we're done with the shows, but let's challenge our mind on screens with a video game. So I do like that, and we have plenty of that around as well.
Yeah, I love this point because I say this often, all screen time is not created equal. There is very educational screen time, and there is, kind of what I call candy screen time, where you're just like, watching, well, maybe Bluey's educational, I don't know.
Oh,
but
it is educational. So Sarah, I'm telling you, watch like 2 episodes and you'll love it.
on it. But yeah, like the amount of content that is available to our kids is just astronomical, and trying to like kind of steer them towards, better shows, or, like Brett was saying, turning on Bluey instead of, whatever YouTube crazy screaming video, but like, I always think, when my kids are watching YouTube and they're like watching somebody else play a video game, I'm always like, just go play the video game. Like, I don't understand that. But having said that, one person told me once that it's just like if I was watching like a football game. I'm not going to go play football, but I like to watch like professionals play the sport. And so like kind of shifting my mindset on that, like, okay, well, this is what they enjoy, but still, like, you got to give them some Animaniacs from time to time. My daughter's watching Tailspin right now. I feel very proud as a parent that she's watching Tailspin. So, yeah, anyway.
So many old school shows they need to watch.
I know, she just likes to call out the old school shows and things that she does.
Yeah, I mean, those are super fun.
They are super fun.
But to Brett's earlier point, so I've got teens, like I said, right? When we have a quick comment here, like different when having teens for sure. But I do similar thing to Brett, where I set time limits on the device itself, and it gives them natural breaks, So I'm not going to say, okay, you only get an hour a day, but I'm going to set an hour a day on the device, and then once that hour is up, then they need to come and ask me for more time. And I'm like, oh, okay, did you do your chores? Did you do your homework? Have you, done this and done that? Or like, hey, maybe we go outside for a little bit or something like that, where they're checking in occasionally because the time limit gets reached. And then I'll grant an additional like hour or so, and kind of approach it that way, so that, they're understanding, like, I'm not just going to be here for like 5 hours staring at a screen.
I like that. I like that a lot.
Yeah, it's worked pretty well to do that, just to have them. And I've even had sometimes where they'll watch something and then they'll shut it and be like, oh, I'm going to try this activity. They're younger kids again. But it's like, hey, that's cool. When they found something, it helped foster that creativity. And then they go on. I wish everything did that, but that's not going to happen.
Right.
So, some days better than the others. But yeah, it's good to have that break, and then, then we can carry on with our day.
Yeah. I mean, and then the 18-year-old, obviously, I have removed all parental controls from her devices, so she doesn't have that. But like occasionally, we'll talk about screen time and things like that, and I'll say, hey, you seem to be on like Instagram a lot lately, maybe you should turn on like a time limit for that, because it's like you need to get some homework done or whatever. I mean, she's still a senior in high school, so she's still living here, but I'm mostly hands off. And so at that point, it's mainly more about limiting specific apps that I feel are like more candy than like educational. So like, okay, you can have access to your device all day, but you're only going to be able to be on Instagram for an hour or something, so as they're like 16 or 17, kind of being more hands off that way, where you're just limiting like just the problematic things, and then allowing them to kind of manage themselves.
Like that slow transition from being totally managed to then having total freedom. I like that a lot.
So I have some family members that have some teens, and they say, or for spring, what was it, fall break, they took them out of the house and we went hiking somewhere where there was no service. So it helped, kind of break up that screen time, making it forced, but also helpful, just to get out and about. And I was gonna ask, do you have any screen time set up on your own devices? Screen time limits or focuses?
I do actually. So Emilee and I actually did a podcast episode kind of about it and tested out a bunch of different like addiction like curbing apps. So like one of the ones we talked about was called Space, and I still actually have Space on my phone. And it'll say like it'll be like, hey, you've unlocked your phone like 50 times today.
I hate that so much. It always makes me feel really mad.
Are you sure you want to unlock it right now? And it really so it's not something that I can't like get around really easily, but it makes me think twice. And I think that's kind of where I really try and be more intentional about my technology use. And I have a 10-day tech reset ebook available on Family Tech. Link in the description. It's not there yet, but I'll put it there. But it is about being more intentional about your screen time. So I can get sucked into YouTube. I love YouTube, and especially like court case YouTube. And court case YouTube can go for hours, right? And so I had to like not watch YouTube on my phone and only watch YouTube on my smart TV, because that makes it more intentional for me. Like I'm watching it like a TV show instead of just like, whenever I'm bored, I can like, pull up YouTube. So I do kind of do some of those things to limit my own technology use. How about you guys?
I've actually backed off a little bit just because I was getting mad at myself and I probably should put them back on. But the two things I do is I have actually my screen time on my home screen. So kind of the same thing. It's not like blocking anything. It's not keeping me from anything, but it's a constant reminder of like, hey, you've been on your phone a lot today. You should probably chill. But also I do the grayscale at night. I make the phone turn the colors off so that it's less appealing. So I'm less likely to get on social media at night, because that was one of my big things that's when I like to get on social media, is when the kids are asleep and I have nothing else to do. And so it's something I still can do, but it helps me make better choices of what I'm doing or where I'm getting my content from at night.
Yeah, I do the do not disturb, and I used to do grayscale, but I think with my new phone, I forgot to set it, but you just reminded me. I need to set that back up.
You're welcome.
Yeah, thanks.
Yeah. For me, so recently I was like spending too much time during the day. I'm like, I should probably be editing this video or whatever. So on the Pixel, I set focus mode, where I can choose what time does focus mode turn on and what apps do I want limited. And so there are a few apps that are always distracting. So I turn that on, and it's kind of cool because it turns off the apps. But if you click on the app, it says, hey, do you want to use this for 5 minutes? And it's like, okay, I need just like a little break. All right, let's watch for 5 minutes. And I think, I'm going to watch like 5 videos. And I swear I watched like one, little TikTok. And it's like, what? How's the time? Because it will do color. And then after a couple of minutes, it does go to grayscale to make it, not as exciting. And then it closes the app after the time's up. And it's like, oh, okay, cool. All right, I better get back to work. So it helps me realize how quickly time can pass. And so then as soon as the time's up, I have full access to the app. And if I want to, there's a button I can take a break. But I think just having that like little spike of dopamine of the app, for 5 minutes. All right, okay, now I need to get back to work. And so I think that's actually been very helpful recently, just to have something like that kind of helps keep you understanding of how much time you are quickly wasting on these apps.
I like that
love
because
that.
the other thing I was having a hard time with is like, okay, I block the app for certain hours, but then I'd like legit need it. Mine's Instagram, right? Like I can be on Instagram for hours. But it would be like, oh, I need to look up this recipe. But because I've either A, used the allotted time, or B, it's during those hours that I had blocked, I was having a really hard time actually keeping that. So I like the focus mode where you're like, no, I do need it for like 5 minutes, and then you can turn it back off.
Yeah. Yeah, it's been nice.
Very cool. So what pixel is that? I mean, or is that just baked into Android? Like, remember?
I know Samsung does it a little bit different. They have some type of daily limits thing. There's always been a difference between the two, but if you look up daily limit or something like that, or app focus, or I don't know, something like that should show up.
Yeah, very cool. Awesome. Any other thoughts about screen time for kids, for ourselves? Thank you, Brett, for bringing ourselves into that, because that's totally something we should have talked about. And
they are not alone in the screen time usage.
Right.
I'm always like, get off the TV and like scrolling.
I guess my final thought on that is, if they notice that I am sitting on the couch just browsing on my phone, they immediately know that they can go and do whatever, and I won't notice. And the quieter they are doing it, they're going to have more time to do it. But I notice if I get up and start doing things, like our little boy, he's 2, and we've got him watching shows when he knows okay, let's watch a show that keeps him calm and so on, and he knows that's fun. But I think just one day I was like, you know what, let's not do shows today. He was kind of getting a little crazy. So I said, okay, we're just going to try something different. And so I spent a whole day just not watching shows. I didn't go to that as the, hey, I need to get things done. I just went to let's play. And we would come up with different activities. And I just did it for one day. And immediately the next morning, he didn't want to watch the screen. He wanted to go and play with the toys and play with some of the other activities we had done the day before. And so I always think about that. Oh, if you just kind of prompt them, there's something more enticing, or it's more fun to actually play with the toys instead of watch the toys being played with, then it's a good time. Because they watch toys all day long.
Right.
Well, that's what I was going to say. It's one of the big focus for me is because I still have semi-young kids still, right? It's for me to get good with my screen time. So when they start to notice a bit more that it's like, no, listen, mom doesn't spend more hours than she should. I won't give a number on her phone. We actually do things in this household, but like, it's still okay to do it. We just also do other stuff.
Yeah. Oh, I love that. Well, awesome. We did have a couple other comments here. What if I enjoy gaming but don't want my kids to do the same? And I'm like,
that's an interesting question, because why not?
Yeah, I'm like, why wouldn't you want your kids to do the same? We're all very tech positive here. So if your kids want to game with them. Come on.
Yeah.
I would say my take on that is, some of the games I used to play, I definitely wouldn't want my kids to play. And so
good point.
And I realized this is probably not something I should be doing. So, adjusting kind of what games I find entertaining. We've had the Nintendo Switch for a while, but I didn't even know like how cool Zelda was, the new Zelda, because I've had all the old Zelda games, but I finally got into it and I realized, oh wow, this is huge. I've never seen a game that's so big, so large in the map. And but yeah, I found it was fun. It was interactive. It was challenging. And so finding games that maybe you think they would like more might be better if you incorporate those, and then only play those certain games when they're not around.
Yeah.
Is, something that would be helpful. And because I want them to play. Now we get to play together, and it's fun.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And I think playing together is a key thing too. Like, we don't want them to. I mean, I played Mortal Kombat growing up. Like,
that's what I was.
So that's one of those. They probably not. But I think like, find age appropriate games and play together. I think that's the key thing too.
Yeah, even VR stuff. So I actually have an interview with somebody tomorrow because I'm transitioning from my interview format to this format about VR. And some of the fun games that we like to play, because my son, has a very different, has a Meta Quest, and we play a game called like Acrons, where like he has this thing, but it's on the screen, and he's like throwing acorns, and I'm like trying to pick them up, or vice versa or whatever, and it's interactive even though he's in VR. Like I can still play with him even if I don't have a VR headset.
That's fun.
Yeah, that's fun. We love that at Grandpa's house. That's what my kids play. So
Oh,
with all the
Acorns?
cousins. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a fun one.
That's way cool.
Yeah. And then this comment was funny too. Hi, and thanks. Got some ideas for my master's thesis.
You're welcome. Happy to help.
You're welcome. When you create that thesis, let us know, and we'd be happy to read it. So just to wrap up, we've talked a lot about Zelda, and then that's so crazy because one of the things I wanted to talk about was...
We're so excited for this. My husband sent me the article like as soon as it came out, and he just came running to me and was like, guess what is happening?
So Nintendo to make a Zelda movie after Mario's success.
They did it. We did it, team.
We
did it.
I loved the Mario
Good job,
movie.
Mario.
Yeah. Did you guys enjoy the Mario movie as well?
Surprisingly, I did.
Yeah. So so they plan to develop a Zelda movie, which if it's anything like the Mario movie, I think could be very successful as well.
So here's the interesting, we've had discussions about this, so I have to real quick. Big topic.
Her and her husband have already had like extensive
We've already
debates
talked about
on that.
I don't know. It's live action, which is the first really interesting thing. Is they're not animating it; they're doing live action, which is, I think, Zelda's probably one of the easier franchises to do this with because they're human-like. Like
Sure.
they're not like, I guess
Like
Mario
hobbits or
is
whatever.
too right? They're like elves, right? We're all used to
Right, yeah.
elves. We got it, but live action limits a lot of things, and so that'll be really interesting to see what changes they have to make. First, what story they pick, and then two, what changes they may have to make because they're choosing to do live action and not animation.
Yeah.
So there you go.
It'd
Those
be
are our
very
thoughts.
interesting.
Very interesting to see what's coming.
I kind of like, I like the 3D. I'm like, I liked Mario, kind of how it was, but Illumination did a great job, and it aligns with a lot that they have done, but it probably wouldn't have been the best if they had done Zelda, so maybe live action might be better. My friends have done, or I know some people that did a Zelda short, like on YouTube.
Yeah.
There's been a bunch of those fan remakes that they do a pretty good job. So seeing it a full studio production will be pretty epic, I think.
And I wonder if they're going to choose. Well, this may be a hope. I don't know if they're going to choose something like Twilight Princess where it's a little bit darker, and that's why they chose to do live action versus I feel like if you did animation, obviously there's dark animation. Like that's not what I'm saying, but you have to, in general, when you have animation, it's a little bit more light, a little more upbeat, and Zelda does kind of have a little bit of a darker theme through most of the stories. So that might have been one of the reasons too they're doing live action. We're very excited.
Do you think it'll be as epic as like Lord of the Rings trilogy or anything like that?
No. Pondering on that. I just think because there's a lot of lore. There's a lot of the Zelda lore that they could go into. I don't think we'll get the epicness, but we'll definitely, I think, have the fantasy feel.
Yeah, it'll be interesting because my wife loves Lord of the Rings, and she definitely, if it's that kind of vibe, somebody that's not into Zelda might go see it.
Right.
Where she had played Mario Kart growing up, and so Mario was kind of cool, or played a lot of Mario. But yeah, I think appealing to a wide audience in that kind of era or that type of category might work really well.
Yeah. And it's similar to when, again, dating myself, but the very first X-Men came out. I was married at the time.
Oh.
And
Way old.
Wait,
I
let's
don't
check
know.
this now.
It's got to be like
It was
2001,
2000
2002 or
2000.
something. Because I remember being in our first apartment when it came out. And
2000. Do you want me to tell you
2000.
how old
Okay.
I was?
No.
I will.
Do you want me to cry? Do you
No.
want me to cry? It's fine.
Maybe.
I like getting older. It's fine.
We were just younger than that.
right.
Just a little.
Just younger.
Just
So but my husband wanted to go see it because he was a good a comic book fan or whatever, and I'm like, X-Men, like really, but then I went and I was like, that was amazing, and like go superheroes, right? Like I wasn't really into the superhero thing until I saw the very first X-Men. So I'm wondering if it can have kind of a similar appeal where it's like, people who aren't super into Zelda, but like it's kind of like a Lord of the Rings thing,
I have a age question for you.
Great.
How did you not see the cartoon of X-Men? Is that past?
Yeah, I mean, so like the cartoons I watched in like junior high and stuff was Animaniacs, Tiny Toon Adventures.
I watched all those too.
I know, but were you in like elementary school? I was in
Probably.
I was in like high school. So.
This is
But
the first episode
yeah.
of X-Men came out in 92, so I feel like
yeah, I was
you just
13 at
missed
the
that.
time. Yeah.
Oh, that's interesting.
Like 92, that'd be 13. But yeah, like like the cartoons that I watched like as a kid are like Smurfs, Gem. I mean, Gem, come on. And Rainbow Bright, Care Bears, like these are the kind of cartoons that I watched as a kid.
All right, I'll allow it. We may now continue. That was my side tangent.
The last thing I've got that's trending, I was Gem. She's truly outrageous. Sorry. She is truly outrageous. Truly, truly, truly outrageous. So the last little trending topic I've got, not sure if any of you are a Vanderpump Rules kind of person. This is the trash TV that is on Bravo, like super trash TV. I wasn't into it
Top Chef
until
on Bravo. That's it.
last year. Top Chef. Okay.
Yeah.
Last year there was like a whole scandal and like everyone on the internet was talking about like the Scandival. So our Ariana was dating Tom Sandoval. They were like living together. They'd been like together for like 7 years. And then he cheats on her with another girl like on the cast who was like, her best friend or whatever. They're all best friends, right? Anyway, so Ariana is now on Dancing with the Stars. And so this is trending because this came out yesterday and she did a Britney Spears like dance and she looks like just like Britney Spears.
She does. I pulled up this because I hadn't seen this yet.
Yeah.
And I'm like, is that actually Britney? I'm like, what?
I know, right? So that's trending right now is Ariana
trending.
Madix on
So I need to learn the dance and post a video about it. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah. Absolutely.
You know what? If you could do that, that would be great. I expect you and your wife to like get this dance down, and next time we meet, we're going to see a dance with you and your wife on that.
Yeah.
I'm in. Let's do it.
Yeah.
I mean, you do
Not
it,
happening.
and I'll watch. That's
Yeah.
what I mean.
Yeah.
So anyway,
Yeah, I was out of the loop on that, so thank you for the info.
right? See, this is why we have the trending section, so like everybody can know what's trending. And Ariana on Dancing with the Stars as Britney Spears is what's trending. So there we go.
The more you know.
The more.
That's-
Oh. Okay, I'm gonna get that so like I can just like play that. The more you know. Yeah, that'll be perfect. So thanks, guys. This has been so much fun. I hope the audience is enjoying this new format. And Brett is going to be hit and miss for a little while we're still testing stuff out.
We'll miss you.
We will
Oh,
miss
okay.
you.
Oh, well, then maybe I'll want to come back again.
Yeah.
See? Perfect. So
It's
exciting.
just a big party every time.
Yeah,
You
it's
know,
fun.
you
Thank
just
you.
like hang out with your friends for an hour. Friends you've never met
Yeah.
in person.
I like it. I mean,
It'll be fun.
that's how it is now. I don't have any friends that I ever
Right.
meet in real life. It's everyone's somewhere online.
Right, for sure.
So it works.
We just happen to all live in the same state, but
Yeah.
It's a pretty big state. Like, let's
It
be
is.
real. We're
It's
all pretty
giant.
far. Well, I'm far from everyone. It's okay.
you are. Like, if you could just move back down this way, that would be great.
Okay. We'll
I'd
work.
appreciate it.
Done.
All right. Well, we will see you guys next week. Same bat time, same bat channel. See, that was around when I was a kid.
Okay.
And we'll see you guys next week.
Bye.